Next thing I'm going to tackle on this Insley is putting a new muffler on it. The old one's pretty rotted. It's not even hooked up to the manifold anymore, so let's see what we can do with it. Here's the exhaust side of it. Looks like they've got some Home Depot adapters in there. There's no pipe coming out of the muffler that's supposed to go up through the body. Let's crawl up top, see what it looks like. I'm sure it's going to be even worse. Yeah, this looks real good in here. Not even hooked up. Piece of wire holding that muffler in. I think somebody's changed it at one time. While I took these panels off to look at this muffler, I found something else that's even more concerning. And that's this intake boot is completely torn. How much dirt and water went down that thing? So I'm going to try and just do a quick patch on that just to keep some of the dirt out. I'm just going to clean that up, put some urethane caulking on it just to seal it up, and then I'll get a new one ordered. Yeah, stuff like this is always fun to find. Hopefully when I take this boot off, whatever fell down in there, maybe I can get shop vac in there and clean it up. I'm not going to run it until I've got a new boot for this. Use this Loctite brand. It's a polyurethane sealant for roofing and flashing. And I usually keep some of this around just for all kinds of stuff because it sticks to anything. Once you get it on, it's tough to remove. So I'm just going to load it up in here and it'll seal it up for the time being. Well, at least it's easy enough to take out. I don't think those are factory. That pipe looks to be okay. I'm going to cut this clamp, get that flange off of there. Now, this muffler come with the excavator. The guy I bought it from, picked it up, had intentions of putting it on. It's a used one. It's got some rust to it, but it's better than what's up there. So for the time being, I'm going to cut these clamps off, just see how it's going to fit. I'm going to say the rusty end is going to be the outlet. Okay, I'll have to do some modifying on the hardware down here. I'll end up cutting this pipe back and I can just meet this to this, use a band clamp on it. And this end, it just turns up with a 90, comes up through the hole that's in this hood panel. So I'll have to see where that comes out, line this up and see how that's going to work. I'm going to measure that up and see if they make a band clamp with an offset that's much. But I'm having a hard time getting that in line with where the exhaust comes out through that top panel. But it may work, it may not. Well, I gave up on that old muffler. By the time I'd have to fabricate some brackets for it, it was a rusted out muffler anyway. So I picked up a 4-inch straight through diesel truck muffler on Amazon for about 75 bucks. I got some flat stock here, so let's see what kind of brackets I can make to support this. This is the old top clamp from the old muffler. The bottom sections are identical in size to this. So I'm making these new brackets similar to this, being it's a different size muffler. These ears will come out and they will sit right on top of that old saddle, right through here, hold that muffler up. I'll make another set, go over the top, bolt them all together. So I have to figure out, I want to hit where center is, but I think I'm going to bend them up a little bit higher. I'd rather have a little bit of room I could shim in here to get it nice and center. That's about center. So I think I'm going to bend these about right there. I'll have to test fit this. I'll set it up in there, cut them to length, drill my holes, but I think I'll go ahead and bend the other one up. I'm going to throw it up in a machine, do a test fit. Well, it sits a little lower than I thought, so it probably needs to come up about an inch. So what I'll probably do, take these brackets loose, I'll put some shims underneath there, then I'll fine tune it with shims under these brackets. But I think that'll work good. I'll put an adapter on here, 3.5 to 4 inches. But right now I'm gonna make my top straps. These will come over and everything will bolt through, sandwich that muffler in there. Okay, to get a nice tight fit on this, because it's always kind of iffy trying to bend them. They never come out exactly how you want. I'm going to cut this clamp on both sides and actually just weld the bracket to it. I can mark it, cut it off, set it in position, clamp everything tight, weld it up. That'll give me a nicer fit. That'll work good. Let me get the MIG welder out. This side, I'm going to put something in there for a shim to bring that up. That way when I bolt it down, it sucks everything tight. Otherwise, it may want to just kind of vibrate in there. This ought to do it. One more to go. All right, doesn't look too bad. I put some shims underneath the brackets here under the muffler. It still needs to come up maybe 1/2 inch. I'm going to put some heat paint on these brackets. I don't know if it'll help or not, maybe keep them from rusting so bad. Get my adapter on here, get my other pipes made up, and we're ready to go. Well, I need to come up about 1/2 inch. I get a tape measure, I'll measure this. I'll make some spacers to put underneath here. Okay, exactly 3/4 of an inch. I cut some spacers off some 1-inch square tubing. After looking at this for a couple of days, I decided to cut it down some. That's the height I wanted. And I pulled the pipe end of 90 out of the muffler because I had the seam right up here. I cut it apart, cut the elbow down, dropped the pipe down, so the weld is hidden down there. That looks a little bit better. Well, that puts me one step closer to having this old Insley back in service. Thanks for watching.